Republican Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen is one of the senior members of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and is the chairman of the subcommittee on the Middle East and North Africa. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Jimbo. And I say to the president, false, false, false.
All right, so let's start. What are your objections?
When he says without having even read it, that's absolutely not true. We've had access to all of the iterations of this deal, including the last deal. Russia leaked it, put it on the internet for all to see, even before the jet engines were going. And when he says false, also when he says that we've not presented to him another plan, yes, we have. It's called U.S. sanctions laws and the 6 UN Security Council resolutions. If we would just stick to those laws that are already in the books, Iran would also have no path to become a nuclear power. What we in fact did, the United States did, is we've given Iran a license by which they can become a nuclear power in a decade. Whereas if we had stuck to our initial U.S. sanctions legislations, which were working, and the UN Security Council resolutions, which were working, Iran would have not have the money that it needed to continue this operation. And that's the truth.
Let me challenge you on a couple of points that you said. You said the sanctions were working.
That's why they came to the table.
As I understand it, under sanctions, while the sanctions have been in place, Iran was able to move and create the number of centrifuges it has to produce the uranium necessary to 19,000. They now have 19,000 centrifuges, all of which were developed during sanctions. Also, during sanctions, they were able to enrich enough uranium to make 10 nuclear weapons, all under sanctions. Under this deal, they would roll back the number of centrifuges they have, and they would give up 97% of the enriched uranium they've already made. They would give that uranium back, so they wouldn't have it available to make a nuclear weapon. Why is that not a good thing?
That is not true.
But that's in the deal.
But of course it's in the deal. Anything is in the deal. Monday becomes Wednesday in the deal, and Friday becomes Sunday. Anything is in the deal. It's the verification. Let's talk about all of those requirements that Iran, really tough. First of all, sanctions were weak. The Iranian regime, they will not have had the money to continue with this fabrication if the IAEA would have been allowed to keep its inspection. Iran says now with this deal, we will consult with these countries to tell us when they're going to come in. It's not an anywhere, anytime regime of sanctions. Also, the military sites, off limits. So if you were Iran, which is a regime that lies, cheats, and manipulates, where would you put a nuclear program? Like they've been doing all along, a covert program. Okay. Would the IAEA ever know that this is going on? No, Jim. They don't have access to the military sites. And the ones that they do have access to, it's in consultation with Iran.
My understanding is under this deal, and I can only go by what's actually written, not necessarily your representation. Let's go by what's in the document. My understanding, what's in the document, is that for those facilities currently known, you would have right of inspection. Without this deal, you lose that right of inspection. For those sites that are someday...
And that's an important one, the ones that you do know, because that's another flaw in this deal, is that no longer, as it did with the UN Security Council resolutions, would Iran have to confess to all of its nuclear activities. Once upon a time, President Obama said that's one of the things that Iran had to do. Once upon a time, President Obama said no underground facility, no Fordo, no Natanz, no Iraq, no water reactor. All of that now, they have a license to continue all of those operations. And if you think the IAEA can come by unannounced and say, boom, here we go.
Today, right now, how far away is Iran from having a nuclear weapon? The breakout number that I keep hearing is 2 to 3 months. Correct?
There are many different estimations. And Israel will give you one, and England will give you. I mean, there are all kinds of different ones.
But under this deal, wouldn't the breakout time be moved from 2 or 3 months to develop a weapon to more than a year to develop a weapon?
No, and what even though that might be an important point, and first I don't agree with that, but even if it were, another bad part about this deal is the ICBM, the ability to transfer that nuclear technology and bomb Iran, bomb Israel, or bomb the United States, because it has that capability. The Obama administration said we're only going to deal in this deal with nuclear-related facts. They said, oh, the human rights record is not nuclear related. ICBM technology, not nuclear related. But when it came to lift sanctions, which are all the UN Security Council resolutions, they're all going to be lifted. And the breakout capability, does it make you any... But not right away. On Monday, they will be in the UN Security Council to lift all sanctions.
But they're not. But my understanding is the ICBM sanctions and the munitions sanctions stay in effect for 5, 8, 10 years, different levels of it.
For the world right now, and for all the bad players who want to become also nuclear able, they're seeing that it's no more sanctions. It's the same kind of bad negotiation that the president made with Cuba, he's made with Iran, and that's why Israel is so nervous, and that's why Saudi Arabia is so nervous, and that's why all of our partners in the Middle East say, come on guys, you once said that Iran was not going to be a nuclear superpower. You've given them a license to be a nuclear superpower.
At least 10 years away, though.
Only in your mind. It's not 10 years away. If you believe that, then you believe that Iran has been a good faith negotiator all of this time. Jim, they have been lying. They have been manipulating all the while that we have been negotiating. What did they do on the Friday before they signed the deal? They had a state-sponsored parade, the old Quds Day. What do they chant? Death to America, death to Israel. We're supposed to look the other way and say,
sanctions?
No, but look, sure, they're saying death to America, but look at this paragraph 3NQ. It says they're going to do this and that. Come on.
So your plan is, because your plan is continue sanctions.
Continue sanctions and put more sanctions. Can you guarantee,
but my understanding from everything I've read from, whether it's the British Prime Minister or, coming out of Germany, coming out of, forget China and Russia.
The P5+1, absolutely. They're all been part of the problem, yes.
And they are not willing to continue. Many of them will break off. They are not willing to continue sanctions. Sanctions allow them to develop enough usable material to create 10 bombs. Well, sanctions has allowed them to the point where they are 2 to 3 months from a nuclear weapon.
Because they have never believed that the United States has been serious at all about our sanctions. When the president says each time, all options are on the table, everybody laughs, including we laugh here in the United States.
Do you want to make
all
the
options
argument?
are on the table. I make the argument.
Make the argument
that we
for war?
should keep. It is not a not binary option. And I know that the president's best selling point, I know because our phones have been ringing since last week. So you want to go to war. It's not what the president's deal is doing is guaranteeing that we will have a war. It will be, first of all, an arms race in the Middle East. Do you think that Saudi Arabia will not become nuclear able? We have lifted also the ban on conventional arms on Iran. So conventional arms, ballistic technology, we will have nuclear superpowers now with the ability to destroy whoever is their enemy of the day. This path leads us closer to war than it does to peace. I'm not certain even of today. God grants me every minute, and I thank Him for it. Nothing is guaranteed. But I say this plan makes us less safe. It will give us a false sense of security. Everyone will think, great, Iran is now going to be a good player. They will allow inspections. We don't have anything to worry about. We want to feel good, and I'm glad that we feel good, but we should not, because there are enemies who do want to destroy us.
We just have about a minute or so left in this segment.